Watch out, Megatron! Out of the way, Hot Rod!
Hello everyone, Dan of 14th Prime here. Today bringing you a video review of the Takara Transformers Masterpiece MP-28 Hot Rod Cybertron Cavalier. Here you got a shot of the front of the box. Typical Takara Masterpiece packaging. You got the bot mode, the alt mode there, both looking really cool, very nice. You spin around the back, you got all the stuff that I can't read, and the various different pics of his gimmicks and accessories. Looks like he's got a couple guns. He's got the saw blade, goggles, a matrix chamber. There you see him in scale with Ultra Magnus coming to about his waist. Alt mode, bot mode holding the fishing pole from the movie. So a lot of cool stuff. Pretty cool pic of the figure on this side of the box, posing, holding the gun, coming at you a little bit. This end of the box here has got a picture of the futuristic car that says alt mode. Alright guys, I've been looking forward to this, so let's pop them open. Okay, so here is Hot Rodimus out of the box. He comes packaged in alt mode. Kind of typical Carbot packaging in terms of the size of the box, the tray and everything. Comes with two guns, his saw blade, and the fishing pole. He also comes with this Masterpiece MP-28 card. Cybertron Cavalier, Hot Rodimus. You flip it around, you got the usual stuff you can't read. A couple pics of the toy, bot mode and alt mode, and his stats down there. I have to say I was surprised at how highly he was scored on everything. 10s and 9s across the board and just 1 7. Just not sure what those are because I can't read it. But it seemed a little high to me. He's not Rodimus Prime yet. Here's the instruction sheet Hot Rodimus comes with. Talks about his supercar mode. Shows some pics. Talks about Hot Rodimus. Bunch of stuff can't read. Shows some pics. Then they show you his accessories. The photon laser. He's got 2 of those. The saw blade. And his fishing rod. And we'll check all those out. And here I did notice the one thing in English are his stats. And I was surprised. Like I said, he's got a lot of 10s and 9s. 10 strength, 10 intelligence. Very highly scored. Looks more like Rodimus Prime. But here you can see what they're scoring him a 7 on is courage, actually. And you'll notice his intelligence there is a 10. I find that kind of odd, because given what he did in the movie that got Optimus killed, you would think he's either very brave or very stupid to go after Megatron like that, and just doesn't show up in the scoring. Okay, let's check out his accessories. Here you have his 2 guns, the photon laser. And yes, do a double take, they are not the same guns. There's actually 2 different guns here. So I don't know why. The directions just call it one gun, photon laser. I was actually expecting 2 of the same gun, kind of like the G1 toy. So here's a closer look at the gun that was on the left there. The thinner one, thinner barrel, fat nose. Take a look at that. It's a nice detail all the way around this thing. And like them all, you can make that little adjustment. It'll plug into alt mode. And then here's the other gun, kind of the thicker of the 2. Some nice cool detail through here. And same thing in terms of being able to plug in for alt mode. So that's the photon lasers. Here you have the saw blade, pretty simple. Kind of the attachment piece, same color as all the accessories. Then you have the silver blade. Just a nice clean circle with some detailing on the inside. The spin. And then last but not least, you have the fishing rod. Again, kind of a gimmicky accessory from the one scene in the movie. Same color as all the other accessories. You do have some black paint inside there on the reel. It's neat, you know, but for me, this is where the accessories probably go a little bit over the top. This will never come out of the box, so for me, I think I made a similar comment with Ironhide. I mean, Ironhide awesome figure, way over accessorized. I'd rather drop some accessories and lower the price. Whereas Ironhide had so much stuff, I felt like you could reduce a lot of that and could have, took $10 out of the price probably. Here, probably not so much because I like the saw blade, I like the guns. This is just a throw-in. And here you have Hot Rod in alt mode. Very sleek looking car, really low to the ground. I've got him so he'll roll, but I've transformed him a couple times and getting it all nice and neat. He sits so low is a little bit difficult, but I've got wheels on the ground there. He rolls pretty well. Super sleek and sharp. Here's a quick shot of him head on coming right at you. Here you got the driver's side profile view, just so I can say I showed you. And then finally here you got the back of the car. I think normal is kind of vents down, but he does have, and it's explicit for robot mode transformation to pull him out, but you can in alt mode as well. To kind of flip out those kind of vents. I think that looks pretty cool in supercar mode as well. So that's an option. Here's more of a bird's eye view, so you can get a better look really at just what the car looks like holistically. You can see very cool. You got two tones, orange and yellow on the fin. It's got the blue windshield, which I like. You can still see some kind of stuff inside there. But the blue tint does a nice job of adding something to that so it's not all kibble look through on the inside. You got the big engine coming through, and the hood looks nice too. The flame, the Autobot symbol. You got the clear orange plastic kind of headlights, so all really cool looking. Here's another angle, just head on, nice and square over the top. You can take a look, check out that hood rolling back through the windshield and the fin. Again, supercar, really sleek looking, futuristic Jetson kind of car that Hot Rod was. They did a nice job with it here. Here you have the bottom of the figure, just so you can take a look. His head sits under there, exposed. One transformation pointer would be when you bring the legs up, make sure they go under the kind of crotch plate there. Otherwise, you can't really get the wheels on the ground. So watch that when you go back into alt mode and transformation. Also, the other trick is when you go back into alt mode, the arms are on this kind of double pivoting mechanism, which you'll see when I do the transformation to robot mode. To come back to alt mode, make sure those get plugged in and pushed back behind the kind of head surrounding mechanism or structures. Otherwise, you can't get these all the way in to bring the wheels in nice and tight. So probably the two watch outs that I had that I can share with you in terms of transformation from robot mode back into alt mode. In terms of using the weapons in alt mode, again, I showed you just kind of flip the handles over and they can plug right into these covered slots when he's in alt mode. Just kind of cool. I like how they're nice and covered up and you can just plug down into them. So if you're not using them, it doesn't hurt the look of the vehicle. So he's got that look there. And you can also take just one of them, come up under the engine where there's a peg, and slide it in there as well. Like that. So that's your two weapon options to use your two guns in alt mode. So for transformation, I will say I like transformation. It feels pretty intuitive. They do have it as about 29 steps. It doesn't feel like 29 steps. It feels more like 15 or so. And you'll see that as we walk through it. So first thing I want you to do is just kind of sort of put a bend in his arms here. Get these tailpipes out from underneath the leg tailpipe section. Just bring those forward like so. Next, just start to rotate over the whole chest piece. So you want to make some room for his head. But then really just kind of get the arms back a little bit and bring this around. The chest will tab right in there. Pretty easy. So the chest is tabbed in. Next, just bring the head the rest of the way around. So that'll just swip around. This orange section finishes up sort of the look of the chest. So bring that down in. And just sort of get the head in the right spot. Like that. And on the back, get this engine section kind of down and out of the way. So that just crunches back in behind the chest. Next, just sort of bring his arms out. This is this sort of extension mechanism I was giving you a heads up about, which for alt mode transformation, when you go back, you want to make sure you get this behind that head section so you can fit the arms all in underneath them. But just pull those out, give them a spin, and just kind of get those situated how you'd expect they should look. Just fold in the side, kind of side hood section here to give them a more narrow look, and also gives them some width from the side angle, which is good. Just get his arm situated like so. This is pretty cool. You can give his shoulder piece twists over the wheel. So to get the shoulders how you would expect them to look, just twist them over and get that white side facing forward. And just go back with the bicep swivel to put the smoke chrome exhaust on the outside. Hands are pretty standard, tucked away in here. Give those an open, flip out the hand. It's got these shoulder orange pieces, which are kind of naturally going down. Just go ahead and give those a final push down so you've got the shoulder look going. So next we want to just start to bring up this whole back section. Kind of just all folds over. It's part of what makes the transformation so simple and elegant is this just kind of comes right off the legs. The legs are pretty sleek, which I'll show you, but this just comes up. There's a peg. So peg that right into his kind of back of the neck area. Come over here and kind of fold down these tail lights and fold it in the whole tailpipe section, kind of into the backpack. And just bring all this down. And this is the only area that was not perfect for me. Is this backpack has pegs down here. Right down here. Should come together nice and tight. Mine are like off, like a, oh, there goes. Maybe transforming him a few times helps break that in. I could not get that peg to work before, but now those come together nice and tight. Here's the vent things that they want you to have out in bot mode. Just give the fin a twist up, and that'll kind of click straight up. The arms then, which are a little floppy and loose right now because they're on these kind of double hinge mechanism. There's some pegs right there to actually hold these really well. So double peg, just nice firm press. Get your arm situated where you need it to be and hold that tight. So that actually works much more effectively than I thought it would in terms of keeping the arms in place. It's a nice strong peg. So right here now we've actually even got him in dwarf hot rod mode. Get those shoulders over. And then we just want to extend the legs, which is, I think, super simple and nice. You just unpeg them. He has some panels on the back, which are going to open up to the inside of his leg. And then this whole section just accordion, get a little accordion down, and push that out. And you can see here the panel will peg back. So peg there, just close it right up on that peg. So that is super cool and simple. Then just split the feet so you get a heel. And there he is. Hot rod. I think a cool, simple, but very effective transformation. So here is MP-28 Hot Rod. I think he's really looks good. Let's just go ahead and do the scale checks right out of the gate. So here he is next to MP-10. I think pretty good scale, right? He's a Carbot, but he's taller. He becomes eventually Rodimus Prime, so he's up to about Prime's, bicep area. When you think about some of the other guys, Sideswipe or some of these other guys come to maybe here or so. We saw in the box when you put it next to Ultra Magnus. Magnus is off the chart here. I think a good scale. It works. Here's a close up of Hot Rod, kind of through the head and chest area. I think they did a nice job with the head sculpt in the face. Looks really good. They've got the eyes right. They've got the face color right. They've got the chin. Probably the only thing that is maybe having some opportunity. I think it's there. It's really slight, but he did have sort of these, cheekbone sort of outline things on his face. If you go and just Google them, pull up some pics, you'll see what I'm talking about. I think they tried to put him in there. Again, it's just so small, such a fine level of detail that it's doesn't quite pick up as well as maybe it could. But that's the only thing that I could say, they could have accented that feature a little bit more, but otherwise, super great looking. I've come up a little higher here just to try to show you, probably see it best from the side view. He does kind of pull together a little bit of a backpack. It's not terrible. I think overall they do a nice job. You'll see the profile, but you do get these red sections in the back, which were his sort of leg panels with the piping. They stick up a little bit past his shoulders, just a tad. So I would have liked to seen that done a little bit tighter. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think maybe a little bit bigger wing section. Just feels like, and you'll see from the profile, it's kind of far behind him with the backpack and just doesn't quite stick up. I don't know if it's as wide or as high as I'd like it to. But again, a knit. We're talking maybe a centimeter here or there would have been nice to widen it out, heighten it up. But it does still look pretty good. So let's give you a quick pan down here. From the head and shoulder area, which I've been talking about quite a bit, you go down. The flame, the bot symbol looks good. The orange headlights there in the chest area come in pretty nice. You see some nice detailing there on the wrists. I don't love that that's where they put the screws. Seems like why couldn't they have done that maybe underneath the arm? So a little bit of a knit there. But then you come down through the waist, orange legs, kind of those bluish, sort of grayish leg panels down into the feet. So all looks pretty good. I do like the color. I mean, they are doing tune color here, making it unique, which is why it's sort of like, I don't know if it shows up as well on camera here, but he really is kind of that pinkish Transformers movie sort of red. It looks more red as I'm looking at my screen here than he does in person. And same thing on the legs. I think those show up a little bit better. Maybe they look more gray than they do show blue in real life. But I love the color scheme they went for here. They went for tune, and you can definitely see that live. Unfortunately, camera, it's looking a little bit more like red and gray. And I like here they even went for the collar inside the neck, so you can see the red collar inside of there. You can even see some of this detail in here off maybe what you'd call the outside collar. All tune accurate, very nicely done. Here's a wide angle of the profile view. Again, I think it looks pretty good, right? The backpack, not too bad. I mean, I like it a lot more than kind of, say, Trax, by this big sort of hatchback hanging off his back, and he himself was like paper thin and just had that hatchback. I think the way they fold up the top of that card actually gives Hot Rod some real thickness through his kind of upper body, and his legs don't look pencil thin like Trax did. So I think the profile is definitely a little bit better. You can see though here the wing feels a little bit back, a little bit far. which kind of becomes the trade-off when you fold up that top section for his back. And here's just a quick closer in pan. Again, there are these red sections sticking up, which I was mentioning, which you can kind of see from the front. The wheels there, the pipes on the arm look really nice. And down through the legs, all looks pretty good, nice and clean. You get a wide angle from the back. You see the fin probably most prominently here. Looks pretty good from a straightaway back angle view because you can't really tell the whole depth aspect to it, and it does look big enough. It looks pretty good in proportion from this angle. From the front, it looks a little bit small, like I said. You got these sort of jet engine sort of things that you can pop out, and then just down through the legs, nothing special there. Here's that closer angle, so you can just take a closer look. Again, I do like the two-tone on the fin, looks really good. Not too bad. Definitely doesn't look like Kibble City. The backpack isn't too bad. So last thing on the figure would be the goggles. I do love these. You can flip the goggles right out of the head. Just kind of flip up the top of his head there, like that. The goggles are nestled in there. They just pivot over. It's hard to do. They're small. But just work at them, bring them around, fold them down, close down the head, and there you go. Hot rod with the targeting goggles. Love that. Super cool. And of course, once you get targeting goggles on, you just gotta give them the photon lasers. So here he is holding his guns. Pretty straightforward, right? They've got a peg them right in. That's a great hot rod look right there. He also has the saw blade, like I said, and showed you earlier, so pretty easy. Just pick a hand, transform it back in so you get this nub. Saw blade has a hole in there, and that'll just plug right in, right? So there he is with the saw blade. That looks really good too. And then finally here, I showed you the fishing rod. He can hold that. He can do his little Indian style kind of seating by the river and toss in a line. And finally, he does have a matrix chamber. You can kind of just open his chest up, kind of like a door. And if you have the MP-10 matrix here, it goes in exactly this way. It's a nice, very particular fit. That sits in there, nice and snug actually. So pretty cool. I could take it or leave it personally. This being Hot Rod, not Rodimus. You know, holding the matrix in his stomach practically. Not too important for me, but you know, a neat little option and throwback to the character and what he's all about in terms of eventually becoming a Prime. In terms of articulation with Hot Rod, it's pretty good. You know, he's a pretty cleanly built robot, so you get the head turn and you get some look down with the head, some look up. So that's good. You can move the arms all the way around. They come up. They have bicep swivel. You get a nice elbow all the way up. You get some wrist swivel there. Mine are pretty tight still. For the hand, it's just one molded piece. Kind of typical grip action. Waist will swivel. He does kind of get this bend, which is cool. So he's got a hinge back here. He will bend forward. I like that. Leg will come straight out to the side pretty well. The panels all accommodate. The knee goes all the way. Foot will move around and even give you a little bit of tilt. So overall, really good. I don't think you'll have any problems getting this guy in most any pose you want. So there he is, guys. Takara's MP-28 Hot Rodimus. Hot Rod, I think they did an excellent job with the guy. I pointed out a few nits here and there, but nothing's ever going to be perfect. You know, in terms of how this guy turned out. Transformation was spot on. It's nice and tight. Everything pegs together. Very elegant and simple. It makes for a good alt mode robot with good, what I'd say is kind of substance to his profile view, and not too bad of a backpack. So really happy with the figure. Super sharp look. Great that we got a standalone hot rod to make up for the sins of MP-9. So definitely recommend the figure. Pick it up if you were thinking about it. I don't think you'll be sorry. And I'll see you next time, guys. Till all are one.